Democrat for the day is Mindy Kimmel from 16B. We just talked to 16A yesterday. Well, let's go to 16B. Mindy is kind enough to join us today to talk about her campaign as she's running for the Minnesota House. Hi, Mindy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. And I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with District 16. We've got the Democrats down there are fired up, and they're ready to go at this point. This is great.
Yeah, we definitely are. It's really exciting to be in 16 because there's both of us that are millennials and young people who are not too far, myself not too far out of college, and then Tom kind of fresh out of college and ready to get on the scene. And so it's great to have some young voices and some good spirit in 16 for sure.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you, yesterday, if you didn't hear, Tom Wyatt Yurka joined us, 16A. If there's anything that makes me feel absolutely ancient is talking to you guys, because I wasn't really ready for this. But once again, we've talked a lot with people after the last election. A lot of people got motivated. Talk a little bit about who you are and why you got motivated to run for 16B.
Absolutely, yeah. So my name is Mindy Kimmel. I'm born and raised in New Ulm, which is in my district of 16B, and I'm a mental health professional. So I provide marriage and family therapy with kids, with families, couples, adults, kind of a variety out here. And so I really have always been involved in politics and that I like to stay informed on the issues. I'm always voting every chance I get. And after the election in 2016, like so many of the people you've interviewed, it really was a wake-up call of believing I could have done more to support my candidate, and this sense of not wanting to sit on the sidelines anymore and let someone else choose how I want my state to be run. And so it really became a turning point of meeting some young people, meeting women, and meeting people with a variety of backgrounds to get involved in a political system that just wasn't working for them, that had become really negative and toxic, and wanting to really be a voice for my community. And so that's how I became motivated as I went to the Women's March, joined with some people from my community there, and we started having gatherings. And what became clear is we really needed candidates on a local level, on a state level, on a national level, and really to kind of start more locally and state level to begin to build good candidates to move through the political system in a way where our voices could be heard.
You know, when you bring up your experience working in mental health, it's interesting. You are, I think, the third candidate I have talked to, and just since we started this up a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that we basically that has come from the mental health field, because what it seems is, and you can back this up if you'd like. It seems that the failure of the state to address the basic needs of the mental health care, side of taking care of the state's residents has sent a lot of people from that field into the races saying, no, we've got to fix this problem.
Absolutely. That I think there is certainly a gap in care that's accessible and affordable for people who have mental health difficulties. And that there's a lot of clients that I work with that have to choose between buying groceries to feed their family, gas in their car to get to work, or their co-pays for therapy, insurance premiums, the cost of their medication. And that just should not be a choice that Minnesota families have to make. That shouldn't be a choice anyone has to make. But especially here in Minnesota, where we're known for being healthcare leaders across the nation, that I really think we can do better. The other side of it is, being a mental health professional, I hear about a lot of the gaps in services, a lot of the gaps kind of going on in our state, kind of in my community. And part of my job is finding solutions. Part of my job is finding common ground so that we can move forward in a way that's healing and positive for everyone. And so I think some of that, too, really was inspiring, in that mental health professionals have an empathetic ear to really listen and think creatively and try to figure out where can we best resolve some of these problems. But also that piece of our clients are literally on the front end of the consequences of not addressing some of these issues.
It is interesting as we talk about this, and I'd love to get your thoughts on mental health care for our kids. It's a situation. My kids are in school. There was an incident where there was counselors that were brought on in, We have yet another case of a school shooting here, and obviously the details are yet to come. But we've had multiple school shootings where there was clearly mental health issues within the shooter, and that went unidentified because there wasn't really mental health professionals around that individual. And then, of course, there always seems to be. I mean, initially, there's a lot of showing of support and mental health counselors available, but inevitably, I mean, after such a tragedy, mental health professionals that are there to help the kids eventually have to go back to their other schools or their other jobs, and we have a lack there of this. Talk about what you would like to see in regards to mental health for our kids today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a huge gap in mental health resources. And I think it's a complicated issue in that there really are not enough providers to be everywhere all of the time. And so how to resolve the provider shortage is, I think, a piece of this, in that especially in greater Minnesota, there are clients of mine that come from several miles away that have to drive for 45 minutes on country roads to come to see me for a therapy session. And so a piece of it is there are programs out there that help mental health professionals with working in high-need areas, including rural Minnesota and things like that. But those programs are being cut. And so some of that is state level, some of that is federal level. And so I think that's a piece of it, is really providing support for people to go into the mental health field in the first place. The second piece of it is you're right in that I've worked in the schools as a mental health professional. That's a huge part of what my career has been. And every year I'm in the school, I end up with a waiting list longer than what I can provide for.
Wow.
And so that, too, is we are one person often for an entire school, sometimes even an entire district. And so finding ways of how do we identify the clients that can be seen at the school, how do we refer the ones that cannot to quality services, and then also filling that gap so that there are enough providers for the need of the community. And so I definitely think that early intervention is often the best way to intervene when it comes to mental health issues. The sooner we can get services in place, the better. And that really includes changing a little bit of the mindset about what mental health is, knowing that infants and toddlers have mental health as well. And so part of it is some education in communities of don't wait until someone is a teenager, don't wait until the problem becomes worse, of it's great to intervene as early as possible.
Mindy Kimmel is joining us right now. She is the DFL candidate for 16B. She is Democrat of the day. Briefly, why don't you describe once again New Ulm's in your district? What else? What other major cities are in your district that you're running for right now?
Yep. So I live in New Ulm. New Ulm is in the district, as well as Redwood Falls, Morgan, Springfield, Sleepy Eye, Wabasso, Franklin, Hanska, all of those cities. I have quite a large geographical region in comparison to a lot of the other districts because it's very rural.
Mm-hmm. And not that far out of the metro area, but once again, a unique area that has got some problems there that have been failed to be addressed, which brings up Highway 14. Now, you are not the first politician we've talked to about Highway 14. Other politicians have as well, because it's a joke that the Republicans have not been able to get a comprehensive bill to where the entire run of 14 gets upgraded. As a matter of fact, the bill that just failed is the bill that was there was a bill that it did not. It was only, once again, it was window dressing. It wasn't really getting the entirety of 14 upgraded as it needs to be. This is we've talked with other candidates from that area. This is a lifeline in the community. This needs to be upgraded for numerous reasons, especially the growth of business and safety within these communities.
Definitely. Highway 14 is one of the top issues, in addition to healthcare and mental health, that I'm really focusing on with my campaign. Specifically, Highway 14 being is that it's identified historically as one of the most dangerous roads in the state of Minnesota. And part of that is because, you're right, if there are stretches that are 4-lane, and then they combine down to 2-lane, and then maybe they go back to 4-lane and then 2-lane. And all of that traffic converges in these tiny towns, where just this past winter, there was another death on Highway 14 on my route that I drive from home to work. And so there are some serious safety concerns with Highway 14, and there always have been. And so I really want to be a part of the solution to fund long-term transportation solutions so that Highway 14 can be a 4-lane from Rochester to New Ulm at a minimum. I think that needs to happen. It's a safety issue. It's an economic issue. We have several trucking companies that use New Ulm and Mankato, Rochester as hubs that need that space, as well as this is farm communities as well. We have tractors on the road, and people are passing tractors, and it's just not safe. And so we really need to explore how to fund Highway 14, to expand it out, to connect these regional centers, because the population that we have along Highway 14 is just not being supported with the 2-lane highway.
You know, there used to be a time when a community took great amount of pride in the roadway was too busy that it for its current constructs, so they had to upgrade it to a major highway. I mean, this used to be a source of pride within a district. We are getting that road, and we're going to make it into a major highway. That was then. Today, it's this begging and pleading for just, can we get this intersection done? Can we get this 3-mile stretch done? And the Republicans constantly keep saying no, 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 when the reality is it's gone beyond being excited about upgrading in community and feeling pride and local pride and the fact that we have this major highway now to a what can we get by with at the very base minimum, regardless of how many people are dying on this road because it's inadequate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's really what it's been. People are dying on this road. Highway 14 has been a safety issue since before I had my driver's license. And so it is perplexing to me that we still have to have these conversations because there has been no long-term fix of part of the road gets turned into a 4-lane, maybe part of the road they add dividers to prevent passing. But, like, what are we going to do to fix this in the long run? And it's got to be expanding the road. It just has to be.
Once again, Mindy Kimmel joining us. She is running for 16B. She's Democrat of the Day. This weekend, I'm presuming you got some volunteer opportunities for the listeners if they would like to take a drive down there and give you a hand, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So on Saturday, tomorrow, starting at noon, we're doing door knocking in New Ulm. And so if people are at all interested in helping out with my campaign, we would love to have more door knockers. We're meeting at my home at 322 North Franklin Street in New Ulm, Minnesota. And then on Sunday is the first parade of this campaign year. And so that'll be in Hanska. And so we're meeting in Hanska at 12:30. Parade starts at 1 o'clock. And we would love to have volunteers come out and walk with us in the parade.
Time of the year. That's our first parade mention. Nicely done. What's Hanska got? Is it like Frontier Days? What's it called? Is it Hanska Days?
It's Setten de Mai.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so head to Hanska. That's on Sunday is the parade. Saturday is the door knocking, correct?
Yep, and we'll be doing door knocking most every Saturday throughout the summer, as well as some evenings, some additional probably Sundays. And all of that is listed on my Facebook page as well as on my website. And so just look for me. It's kimmelforhouse.com, or if you search at Kimmel for House on Facebook, you can find all of the up-to-date volunteer information and events, all of those kinds of things.
And once again, you've heard me say this, okay? You help your local Democrat, help your local DFLer. But this summer, find 5 Democrats running in districts where Republicans currently hold the seat and help them any way you can. Make a donation, do some door knocking, walk in a parade, which, by the way, is a fantastic way to help out a lot of these politicians as we get into the summer months. And once again, go to Kimmel for House, Kimmel for House. I'll link to all this stuff a little bit later on the Facebook and the Twitter pages as well. And get in touch with Mindy Kimmel, who once again is the DFL candidate for 16B. Mindy, thank you very much for the time. I really do appreciate it today.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy to be on the show.
Thank you very much. Mindy Kimmel, Democrat of the Day, 16B. We'll take a break. Come on back, take some phone calls, and Oh, gosh. Yeah. Once again, they could investigate the guy that admitted to the crime in the house, but they seem to have no interest in that. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.
Big up, put on my side. Good times when the baseline pump.